There we go. I don't know if I'm live, but like, okay, okay. All right. So let me first check one more thing before we get started for today, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. Perfect. Excellent. Alrighty, everyone. I know you guys are probably going to watch this later, so I don't really care. So let's get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Brad Clark, and today we are going to be creating the Lost Tapes tier list. Now, I will warn you, it's been a while since I've seen some of these episodes, but today we're going to make a tier list. That's right, we're going to be making a tier list. Let me turn up my mic a little bit. Check 1, 2. Funnel bear, huffle bear. Alright, perfect. Excellent. So like I said, we're gonna be making the tier list. Of course I have them all ranked from S to D tier, but I'm gonna add one more tier on here, which I will call E tier, which is kind of like an F tier, just so we're clear. But yeah, let's get started. It's this fucking thing. Sorry. I guess we're gonna have to make the D tier, and I think that was like orange. Yeah, sounds about right. This one I'm gonna delete. Whatever, it's the best I can do for now, but yeah. Alright, so let's get started. First off, I'm gonna try to do this as by per season, or however the tier list is listed, as you can tell right here. I think I'm probably gonna do it that way, just because it's easier. But yeah, let's get started. Zombie. I've talked about this episode so many times. The Haitian voodoo magic was stupid. All right. Plus, like the guy telling the girl to knock it off when she was biting him, and plus, like some of the trivia just didn't make sense. Like zombie powder, it just makes no fucking sense. Like, how is it relevant to your episode? You know what I'm saying? How is it relevant to your episode? Because it makes no sense, right? It makes no sense. Plus, like, when the guys died, and I really hated how, canonically speaking, this is the one of the last episodes of the show. So that's a big problem of mine, I would say. So, but if I had to think about it, it's definitely the weakest of the season premieres. It is the absolute weakest of the season premieres, by far. But in terms of episodes, I would say it's definitely one of the weaker ones. It's not like Q, which we'll get to. Don't worry. And I think it just sets a bad precedence, because I remember in the Lost Tapes podcast episode, I said, "Oh, we need a witch episode," and obviously, Wiccan is a religion, right? And just even then, like, I was talking about it with Roddy, like a few, like from the last podcast episode a while ago. Apparently, zombies are just people who are possessed under like the spell of a witch doctor, right? It's not even mid. It's just not very good, so to speak. Not very good. So for that, I'm going to have to place this guy somewhere around. For now, I think I'll put it in probably an E tier. Definitely an E tier episode, or F tier if you really care about that. But anyways, it's not a good episode. Basically, what it is just self promotion for the audience. If you really want to think about it in that way. So Swamp Monster, this is definitely a D tier. Now hear me out. The episode in itself isn't too terrible. It's just really, really boring, and like nobody dies at the end. Um, like no one really dies in the episode. It's really boring, and I don't really like it in that way. Plus, like, on top of it, they all get off scot-free. Like, it was one of the early episodes, so, like, they were still trying to work out the kinks and stuff, but I think it's, like, one of the weakest episodes in terms of it being boring. And as some people would say, like, sometimes being boring is better than being, like, you hating it, because at least something that's boring, you can maybe find some entertainment. Like, it just depends on, like, your own personality, obviously, but, like, yeah. And plus, there was like like a really bad film error. I don't remember exactly. It was like right when the alligators were being shown. There was a man shown like filming it. So I was like, oh, thanks for breaking the illusion. And I almost forgot. Yeah, I went to the zombie house a while ago. It's pretty big, but it's someone's house. I forgot to mention the video because I didn't record it in the original video, but like when I went over there, one of the guys from the house like saying, "Oh," asked me what I was doing, not like in a bad way. He was like, "Oh, do you want to? Are you looking to like rent one of the locations?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm just here. I'm the host of the Lost Tapes podcast, and I'm just here just to record, man." And I talked to him. I tried getting his contact information just so I can share more about the show, but obviously that never came about. So, anyways, so back onto Swamp Monster. I did think I'd find a location, but I probably wrong just because there's like in the video it doesn't show. There's like a little alcove where people are going fishing and stuff. But anyways, definitely a kind of a B tier, kind of a D tier listing, and I almost forgot. One row below. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There we go. Yeah, that sounds about right. Mongolian Death Ward. This episode is definitely it's pretty decent, very decent, and I really like the tension that you don't really see the creature a lot. It's kind of like Tremors, with the graboids in that aspect. Really good that they don't really show the creature a lot, and I really appreciated that a lot. So, and plus, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the design. I kind of prefer this design a little bit more. Not so much the hook part, but like I kind of like the idea of just it being like it's just a circle with just sharp teeth instead of like the weird like mouthpieces that they had. But the design of it that they did was actually pretty good. Like I don't know if it was me. It looks kind of like I don't know if it's CGI or practical, but it looks really good. Definitely a better season finale than Reptilian by far. By far the best season finale. Let's get so to continue on that. So Bear Lake Monster, a step up from Swamp Monster, but not very good. Like it's just not very good. It's kind of like it feels like Oklahoma Octopus 2, but not very good, so to speak. Like it's okay, I guess, so to speak. And oh whoa, sorry about that. It's just not very like entertaining, and I don't know if anyone's watching the chat, so like I'm gonna switch over to that real quickly, just so I can see y'all see if y'all are like paying attention or something like that. Okay. Oh, Ginger. Hey, Ginger. How's it going? I forgot to put the chat here. I'm really new to using OBS, so like, and no, I won't be a VTuber. If I am, then cool, whatever. But no, to get back to it. The location I thought was really interesting that they said the Gobi Desert or quote unquote Gobi Desert, and some of the trivia saying, oh well, it's probably mutant worms. I mean the Mongolian deathworm kind of looks the part, but like, like it's definitely like it's above average, not really mid, but it's a very good episode, I would say. I would definitely, I think, actually, now I kind of think, I definitely would put it at a B tier, just because it's really good, for what it's worth, all things considered. Let's get back to it. Bigfoot. Definitely a very solid episode. I would say like it's definitely suffers from the first season where it's like very slow, has a slow burn to it. But I really like the ending with the gut poacher getting killed and like the tension of, oh, is she being gonna be killed by the poacher or the Bigfoot? Like that was like a really interesting tension that they did. I definitely would place it maybe below Mongolian Deathworm only because like Mongolian Deathworm like has that tension a little bit better of like not knowing what's gonna happen. But yeah, Bigfoot. What I really liked about the episode, I know people do like the girl in the episode, and I think one of the most interesting parts of the episode is we get journal entries, kind of like Dracula, like the book Dracula, where it kind of adds to that feeling of like this is authentic. Like looking back now, it's not the best, but it's definitely very interesting that they tried something different in this episode, for sure. Um, but yeah, it's definitely very interesting that they did that. So let's go Cave Demons. Cave Demons, I would maybe place that. I want to say below Mongolian Deathworm, but definitely above Bigfoot it's because with Cave Demons, I really like the military aspect. As I mentioned the first episode, like the idea of the military being this unstoppable force, being killed off by like something supernatural that they can't see, like harpies essentially. Like that's really interesting and really terrifying. But here's the thing. Like when I was watching, I recently watched Aliens. I think I saw the director's cut, the second Alien movie. And I don't know if it's just me. I feel like they were trying to go for the aliens sequence specifically in the movie. There's a scene, like one of the most famous scenes in that movie is like the alien like xenomorph hunting squad goes in and they are attacked by a bunch of xenomorphs, and it felt like kind of like that aspect, like if the like in a Vietnam movie. But I think it's really interesting that they said in Afghanistan. Yes, I know there's gonna be some like comments saying like compliment, or there's some comments out there comparing Afghanistan to Vietnam, and we're not getting political in this show. We're not gonna get political in the show. I'm gonna try to keep this as apolitical as possible, just so it's like enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, back to the episode. I think it's very interesting that they use like sonar. I don't know where they get the angles and stuff like to show multiple of these K demons like going after these military people, but like it's definitely very interesting. I would say very interesting that they did that, right? Um, so there's that aspect of it, right? Um, I definitely did like it how like, well, at least in the deleted scenes, it's been a while since I've seen him, but in the deleted scenes, it shows like him in the hospital being treated for like a rare form of rabies. I kind of wish that they kept that in the original episode. Like they kind of imply it like in the ending narration, but I kind of wish they kept that. But like I said, it's definitely like Mongolian Deathworm's like the better, but but KD is definitely a step up from Bigfoot in the sense that they kind of figured out what they were doing a little bit more. But yeah, let's get to the pilot. The pilot itself, Chupacabra, one of the most famous episodes. It's definitely a very good episode, but I would place it in C tier only because, like, it suffers from, I think, pilot episode syndrome, that they were trying to figure out the kinks and stuff, and it wasn't very like, it wasn't like good, and plus like, if I remember right, the mom and the dad died, and there wasn't a whole lot of trivia about the chupacabra itself, except for that revelation segment where they're like, oh, they're like gargoyles, which I found really interesting, but I could not find any information about the gargoyles theory, at least online. And I was talking about it with Roddy and Smaug, because Smaug went to Puerto Rico fairly recently. Um, but like, what's interesting is that at least one of the first original sightings in Puerto Rico. I could be wrong in this. Like the woman that said that she saw it, like said it looked a lot like the creature from the movie, I think Signals or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but you know, there's that. It kind of reminds me of like the first alleged documented sighting of Loch Ness, where they saw King Kong and they thought they saw like a creature running around the for like on the road. But anyways, what I like about this episode, I definitely like the like again. I know the political angle. I like this episode. This episode between me now. Oh, it would cause so much controversy, given the whole political situation with the border, right? But I really find it really interesting. This episode kind of like trying to tackle that subject matter. It was kind of interesting, but like, but as the episode itself, it's kind of like very slow and boring, kind of like a swamp monster right here. But it's not like terrible. It's definitely not a bad episode. It's pretty good, I would say, all things considered. But it's like kind of suffers from that first episode syndrome, I would say. And then back to season 1, we have an easy A tier, maybe S tier. Let me put in S tier for now, and then we'll decide. The Owl Man, one of the best episodes, probably considered one of the best episodes of season 1. Why? If you remember the episode, it's really interesting that they take this like kind of like roundabout way of making it international, where they don't set it in the United Kingdom, but they set it in California, and like it seems like this creature followed the old lady, right? And I think if this is just my opinion, if they did a Koche Sake Onna episode, I think I was talking about it a couple times. I think it'd be really interesting if they did that angle, like specifically as I mentioned, maybe one day I might consider filming it. I know some of you guys love that movie. It's not very good, Slipmouth, like looking back, but what if there's like a neighbor across the street and there's like a series of killings and she looks suspicious and all that? They go inside and they figure out like, oh, she's a monster type of thing. Kind of like a mixture of Monster House and as Rodney said, like Paranormal Activity, the Mark ones. But anyways, that's like really interesting, I would say, all things considered, if you really think about it. Like, it's one of the best episodes of season 1, because like the tension, like you don't see the creature, you see its shadow, and that's like very terrifying in itself. Like you barely see it, and then like you build up this tension over time, like, oh, they're seeing this creature, and then they see, oh, it's a demon, and they find the aloe pellet with the person, like the person's jawbone. So when you see it, like, I guess quote unquote see it, it's like much more terrifying to see like a giant owl. And again, since I visited the place, like I didn't go inside the church because it's a Presbyterian church. Just like I know there was like some confusion about that. Just to clarify, I'm not a Presbyterian, and the only reason I didn't go in again because I didn't want to trespass and I didn't want to like offend anybody, if that makes sense. Like just to make a video, like I wouldn't mind going inside, but like I just thought, hey, like maybe not, it's not a good idea. But yeah. So to get back to it, oh no, this episode, where am I gonna put Devil Dragon, aka Megalania? It's an interesting angle that they just tried to make it like a lost like Bear Grylls or whatever it's called, like Survivor like episode type of thing. And then like the guy gets bitten by this giant Komodo dragon, so to speak, and then in the episode, like you hear like bear noises, essentially like stock bear noises, and it's like really really bad, like because you can see the rope. Like it's an interesting concept, but like not the best execution. I definitely place it below Chupacabra. Speaking of which, Chupacabra, I remember there's a specific sounding. It's like it's a jaguar sound from Sound Ideas. It's actually I believe it's Doom Guy's breathing sounds like. And that's actually in Doom. And the reason I say it's from Doom is because, well, I played Doom. and that's like one of the stock sounds for Chupacabra. But regarding Megalania, I think a much more interesting creature. This is like what I found out recently was as a land crocodile called Quincana. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's a giant land crocodile that used to live in Australia. So go figure. And it would like kind of like it was about the same size as Megalania, and I thought it was just so much more interesting to have like a land crocodile like hunting you. But you know, Megalania is not bad, I guess. It's just not for me. Alrighty. The Hound episode. Hellhound. I used to not like this episode. Actually, almost forgot. This isn't so. Originally, when I watched, I used to think the Death Worm was the episode finale, but it's actually Hellhound. This episode's really interesting that everyone technically dies except for that girl, and she's basically, as I jokingly said, she's a phantom, you know, like Danny Phantom, but no, like, I thought there was a continuity episode error. There was like one of the girls, not Lilith, or the guy, or the girl that they quote unquote like made her drink blood. It was like some other girl. She has like no speaking lines, and I thought she was like a cut character because like there's that like that kind of bothers me. Like the intro is really good, like with the rock and roll music in the beginning. Not as good as like Dover Demon, but in terms of the Hound episode, I would place that definitely like I would place it definitely above these guys, but maybe above Cave Demons. But I'm not sure, like, cause like here's the thing, it's a good episode, but like I felt like it could have had a Bird Box Quiet Place like feeling where you don't see it, and like it's more horrified that aspect, right? Now you cannot see the creature, but you can't see the creature, like it's actually scary. And of course Smaug made the like said in his timeline video that it's actually a cursive video, which, you know what, Smaug, you did good on that one. Like that's like actually really cool. I actually love that. And just so we're clear, I'm not saying I hate Smaug. I love Smaug. Smaug is one of my friends, okay? I would just say like it was a cool idea, okay? But yeah, regarding its episode placement, I only would place it. I would take it down a little bit more because of the supposedly cut girl, but I think as an episode, it's not terrible. It's not bad. Definitely not a bad episode. It's definitely very good. But where would I place it? I would maybe play. It's definitely better. I would say it's not as good as. I would definitely put it maybe in a C tier, or like definitely around B tier because it's like it's a very good episode. Actually, now I come to think of it, I'll put Mongolian episode Deathworm in A tier. It's definitely very B tier episode. It's very good, but it's like not the best episode. Like it's very good, but like I think they could have done better with the episode in terms of like it was a Rottweiler. I mean, personally, I would pick like a German Shepherd myself, but like you know, it's not bad. Definitely not a bad episode. But where I would place it maybe above. I don't know, like it. Cave Demons and the Hound episode are very tied, I would say, in some aspects. But anyways, Skinwalker. If you met me a few years ago, I would put this maybe around D tier or E tier. But Skinwalker as an episode, I would probably have to place it maybe around like a high B tier or low A tier. Because the costume is cool, but it's from I think it's from the Howling. The costume. I don't know how they got the footage for it, but as Solomon Pleasant said, it's a really good episode. Builds tension. It's very suspenseful. Because you don't really see the creature. Like, you just feel like the atmosphere and ambiance is really scary, really creepy. And Native American legends started to become very popular, especially the Skinwalker, like a few years ago. But yeah, like the only thing I don't like about this episode, besides like the lamb getting killed, well, the mother lamb getting killed, right? Everyone gets off pretty much scot free, and you don't really see any encounter with the woman in the beginning. So I would think it'd be much more interesting if we got like an encounter with a woman, maybe a back and forth, like him saying like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here! You don't belong here," type of thing. Not like in a bad way, but like, you know what I mean. Um, Lizard Man. Lizard Man, it's a very average mid episode. What do I mean by average or mid? It's not like a bad episode. Um, uh, BH, I saw your comment. Regarding your comment, I would say personally, maybe, maybe they could, in our current landscape, maybe there could be a lost episode, a lost tapes series, but I'm not really sure exactly. Here's the thing, like cryptids are very popular, but like in order to keep its legacy regarding cryptids and stuff, you have to be like, I don't know, like it's kind of like a niche genre. Not like in a bad way. It's not like niche in a bad way, but it's like kind of niche in the sense of, oh hey, like, you know, like because it's lost tapes community. Um, I guess in terms of streaming and stuff, I'm very much against streaming, but like I think on streaming it could succeed very well. It just depends on like the production value, I would say, and the coordination of the team, I would say. But back to Lizard Man. If I remember right, people did die, and that was like good. It's a very average episode. You don't really see the lizard creature. It looks like kind of like a person like in a morph suit, like the rake for from Creepypasta. It kind of looks like that, but it's also really scary. Like you see the guy going through the tunnel, and then the lizard man just pops out of nowhere and like attacks him. And plus, this is like one of the few episodes where the creature dies, besides Baby Chupacabra. But it's a very creepy. It's a very good episode. But it's definitely not as good as like Bigfoot. I think Bigfoot was better, but it wasn't like a bad episode. It's definitely like a very in the middle of the lane, pretty mid-average episode. And when I define average, average is better than average is worse than mid, because mid is pretty good, but like you know, werewolf. Now here's the thing. Oh yeah, BH. I'll get to your comment. Don't worry. Yeah, I definitely do think that there could be a successor to Lost Tapes. I was like, I talked about with Solomon and a few and Rotting. It could be interesting that they did an urban legend series, but I'm not sure. But regarding, so we get back onto the tier list. Werewolf. So just a disclaimer, I'm not too sure if I found a location of the house. Just so I'm clear. It's so regarding the episode, I remember I said a while ago I believe the episodes were switched because of the design. It is possible, but not very likely. What do I mean? Because well, in the episode they found fur. They found actual fur of the werewolf in the episode, and they saw like basically like a dog footprint. So that kind of debunks my original theory. But in terms of its placement, I would definitely say it's an okay episode. It's not very good. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I guess I would put Megalania in D tier. Um, it's an okay episode. It's pretty decent. Like it's really interesting that they allow like a basically a documentary person to join a police force to like record. I think that breaks protocol, but still. Deathcrawler, definitely an E tier episode. Like it's like here's the thing: the concept of a Deathcrawler is really interesting. Like it being Arthroplura, or like the largest centipedes in South America. I can't think of the name. Scoliensis amazoni, something like that. But like it's just not very good of an episode. It's not very good. Like There's no tension. There's not a lot of tension with it. Like everyone, like people don't get off scot free. Like people die, everyone dies in the episode, but it's just not very good as an episode. Not very good whatsoever. Like it's kind of like below average. It's very below average. It's very boring too, but like it's worse because like its subject matter is not really interesting. But the subject matter, I almost forgot. The subject matter of Bear Lake Monster was a hoax. It's a hoax. Like it is a complete hoax. Like the guy apparently made it up. Like Solomon, Pleasant, and Rodney did research. Like I know Solomon said in our first podcast, but like still, it's a hoax. But regarding like Deathcrawler, it's just not very good. Not a very good episode. I know I said a while ago like the ambulocetus theory for Bear Lake. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked and thinking multiple things. It's just I don't know. It's just not a very good episode. I mean, it's a hoax anyways. New Jersey Devil. Definitely an A tier. It's a very good episode. It's one of the most iconic episodes because the footstep in the beginning. The only problem with it is, again, no one dies in the episode. The only person that dies is Old Yeller. Yes, I know, Old Yeller. Favorite winged episode. I guess my favorite winged episode I would have to say is definitely the Owl Man. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you guys see my whole setup? If not, that's fine. I can check my OBS. Not really worth it. There we go. Maybe that might work. So, I guess regarding the New Jersey Devil episode, it's a very good episode. Don't get me wrong. Let me close this out. So, New Jersey Devil episode is really good. It has one of the coolest designs of the creatures. It has my favorite design for the New Jersey Devil, at least in terms of the sketch. It is the coolest sketch design. In my opinion, one of the coolest sketch design for its like figure. But the problem with the episode is just again, no one dies, and we did find the two girls who were in it, Courtney Sato and Megan Lee. We did try to interview Megan Lee, but again, we never got around to it. Unfortunately, we sent her our podcast, and she never said anything back. And plus, like I think she would want it to be a paid gig, which is fine. No worries. I get it. We live in the Los Angeles area. But yeah, like it's just an okay app. It's pretty good. It's definitely like a low A tier. It would because it's a very creepy, scary episode. The only thing is that again, the pregnant woman basically harms that creature, and they get off scot free. Besides the dog, which is really sad. So let's go to the Killer Wasp episode, aka the Alien episode. Easily a B tier episode. It's pretty decent for a B tier episode. It's definitely a high B tier episode because like they decided to go with the aliens xenomorph route. Personally, I would have gone with the more gray man look, gray man design, or like or maybe something like Predator. Like not necessarily like what do I mean by Predator, but like a creature hunting them down, not like necessarily a showdown, but like like Predator, like a Yaosha. But the episode's like a very derivative of very derivative of Alien, at least the first one, and the creature gets away, and like it's a really interesting concept that they decided to do a wasp for an episode. I would say very interesting. Let me zoom in one more time for you guys. There we go. It's a very interesting episode. Like, I don't hate it whatsoever. It's a really good episode. I wouldn't have gone with the Wasp. I would have gone with the Alien. I would have gone with Gray Men. Or even the Predator. Like, episodes like an episode like that. But it's a very good idea. I thought it was, like, pretty decent that they decided to do that. excuse me, Dover Demon. That's an S tier. Easily S tier. Why is it S tier? Because, well, let me tell you something, Jim. Coolest intro of the show. Everyone dies. It's really creepy and it's self-aware. They literally critique themselves in this show. It's very self-aware. It's a very great episode. It's really creepy. It's basically absolute nightmare fuel. It is absolute nightmare fuel. Like, this is the episode, unfortunately, when I turned 13 or 14, I don't remember exactly, when I realized, oh, the show is fake, it's bullshit. But, like, this episode's really fucking terrifying. Like, it's absolutely terrifying. Like, the night vision scene is, like, one of the scariest things in the show. Again, like, the Gray Man, like, I know I mentioned the Gray Man, like, with the alien episode. But with the Dover Demon episode, I guess it works. I wouldn't have done that. I would have gone with, like, no mouth. Like, kind of like what we see right here. Like so. But, yeah, it's a decent episode. It's not terrible. Not terrible whatsoever. It's a very good episode. But I would place it definitely above Death Raptor in terms of, like, it was a really good episode. It's one of the best episodes of the show. But yeah, Megaconda, definitely a low C tier episode. Because, like, you know, two people surviving is not a problem. Like, the activist part was, I thought was really cool, a really interesting angle. Like, they were kind of self-aware, kind of poking fun at it. Not, like, in a bad way, because, well, poaching is wrong. But it's, like, it's just not very good, because, like, it's just, like, the snake kills just for sport. And it's very derivative of the movie Anaconda. In that way, it's not very, like, great as an episode. Like, the guy dying at the end is, again, one of the worst deaths. I remember seeing years ago, like, you used to see, like, this end of the snake, like, slithering away. Although when I watched on YouTube, not too long ago, I couldn't see it for some reason. And they couldn't get a quote-unquote good angle. We didn't even see the head of the snake. We just saw someone get pulled up. Right? We saw him getting pulled up. Not interesting whatsoever. Not even close to being interesting. But, anyways. Beast of Brayro. Sorry. Definitely, I would definitely put it in a lower B tier list. Not because it's bad. Again, there's the political paramilitary angle from it, but it's not like a bad episode. It's definitely very good, like, near the finale. Like, I originally thought, like, you know, like, this has one of the coolest werewolf sketch designs besides these two. Besides the werewolf and the skinwalker, this has the coolest design in terms of the sketch. It is really cool. It's really creepy, really cool looking. And now I'm looking at it. It looks like it has a mane, like a lion. It looks really cool. And I went to Bray Road. And it's like let me tell you about Bray Road. When I went there with my uncle and my cousins and my grandma, it was like so quiet. It is so quiet. Like, it is absolutely quiet. Like, it's eerily quiet. You can hear crickets there. Like, it's absolutely terrifying. But as an episode, it's pretty good. I think the finale, like, was pretty good conclusion. It had a pretty good conclusion, I would say. Definitely another very interesting take of the cave demons, but, like, but with more death, I would say. But, you know what, maybe I might place it, yeah, like, it's definitely a lower B tier. Now I come to think of it, I would switch these two. I definitely put, like, the Hound, maybe something like this would be a good reasonable thing, but even then, like, it's not like, I don't know, like, it's definitely a very lower B tier episode. Like, it has the coolest, one of the coolest sketches of the show, but not very, it's okay. Like, it's very, very good, very safe. Devil Monkey. Oh, man. This isn't, I don't know if I would put it in S tier, but maybe yeah, I would put it in S tier. Creepiest costume design of the show? coolest design, coolest costume, I would say. One of the coolest costumes. Although you could see the guy's shoes with wearing Vans, but again, it has a really cool sketch design. But like, I really thought it was interesting that they brought the ATF, and it's just really cool as an episode. Like, it's really good of an episode, right? It's really good episode. Like the moonshine, like just like the opening scene where you see the two kids there, and they're just like it's just empty. There's just like the moonshiners are gone. They're completely gone. Like it is already sets it like this is gonna be a very horrifying episode. My only critique is that there's only one monkey, although there's two, but like like I wish there's like we could see like a family of monkeys going after the ATF because well reasons. Oh, maybe that might be better. But yeah, it's just a very good episode. Again, like Werewolf, but better. Like, what do I mean? Like, it has the documentary crew, right? But it's way better in terms of the sense of hey, like it actually like no one gets off like this, like people die in it, which reminds you of this guy. Like people do die, and the documentary filmmaker does. It's the same thing here too, but like the kid from the beginning is the only survivor, which I really appreciate it, and it's really cool in that way. So yeah, Kraken. My feelings have changed over the years over this one. It's definitely a very C tier episode. It's definitely a very high C tier. It is boring, but it's really good, cool, really good episode because like, the route it took with the with them trying to find treasure and the opening alone is like really good. One of the best openings. There was a documentary from a few years ago. It was like giants, and it showed like near the end, like giant creatures had like a Megalania, a T-Rex, I think a Sarcosuchus or Deinosuchus, and it had like one of the last creatures that they featured was a giant squid that pulls the guy under. I don't remember the name of it. It was maybe Land of Giants. I don't remember, but like it's very good of an episode. It's definitely like a step up. Like in terms of water episodes, like we don't really get too many of those, but like it's just okay. Like it's a very good episode, but like the only thing I didn't like was the ending. Like you could very clearly tell like the model was CGI. Like the guy not telling like this what happened, like it's classic like Kraken mythology. Like classic like scary like I saw a creature and I won't talk about my story type of thing. But anyways, definitely it's definitely a very decent episode. Like it has the right environment for like it could have been much better with like I don't know if like the phobia where you're afraid of seeing giant creatures in water. I can't remember the name of the phobia. I don't have the phobia, but like it would have been much more interesting, which they try to do in Monster Monterey. I think they did much better. But yeah, Poltergeist. I'm a bit biased, but I would definitely place it in S tier, as I've had supernatural encounters in the past. But like, Poltergeist is a really good episode. Here's the thing. I know like people don't really like it, but here's my apologetics for one scene specifically. It's the scene where he guy looks outside, he sees the guy with the bloody knife, and he says, "Oh, I saw nothing." Here's the thing. When I first saw that episode, I think I saw it in ST, standard definition. And not gonna lie, the poltergeist, quote unquote, looks just like the guy, and I was so confused as a little kid. And he kind of does, because the beard, they have like a similar beard, so to speak. It's a really good episode, I would say. And yes, like I know it's like not the best, like the end, like the PT stuff I thought was really interesting. Like it has a very interesting supernatural angle of it. And it's one of the only few ghost hunting episodes besides Death Raptor or Owlman, but it's the first true ghost hunting episode. And plus people die really weirdly and like very subjectively terrible ways. Terrible as in like it's not very good, right? Um, I think Lost Team should have been more forgiving to humans instead of. Sorry, I'm just reading your comment. Um, yeah, it could have been a much more apologetic, I guess, so to speak, but um, more forgiving. I think more death would have been much more interesting, but like, some of the episodes made sense. But anyways, let's get to the goat. The goat. The best episode of the show. Wendigo. That's right. Easy S tier. No, I would say no debates. But here's the thing. Really good episode. People die in it. No one survives. One of the coolest designs. In terms of the sketch, and the costume itself. Really good episode. It is single-handedly one of the best episodes of the show because it takes everything into account: the tension, the building, the people dying, the monster design, and it's just amps it up to 1,000. It is so good. Like, if you look at costumes by itself, like, you don't see like the person's mouth, but like it looks fucking horrifying. Like, it basically has like a bunch of sharp teeth underneath. This episode is a really good episode. Easily S tier. And now I come to think of it, let me put Devil Monkey back in A tier because it's definitely an A tier episode. But no, it's actually S tier. But Wendigo is the best episode. It deserves its own tier. I just had to do it. A row above. S plus. And its color is going to be purple because of royalty. It is easily an S tier plus episode. No debates, no questions. Beast of Monster Monterey. Definitely maybe a low B tier episode. The lowest of the B tier. Like what Smaug said, it's really hard to see the creature at the end. Like, there's a lot of tension. Like, it's this very slow burn episode. And plus, like, I know some of the signs with plesiosaurs or plesiosaurs, it's not the most accurate with it attacking the boat. But like, when you see the boat, it's like one of the most unnerving episodes, or when she gets knocked over. And you just see her struggling and getting drowned. It's really horrifying. It is like that's the best sequence. Everything else in between is like kind of like, it's okay. It's definitely very B tier because I can't hate it because it has really good tension. Although personally, it's like my only reasoning for hating this episode is that they should have done the Loch Ness Monster. This should have been the Loch Ness Monster, not Monster of Monterey. And that's basically what I have to say. And yes, I know it's a Smaug the DM killer. Because it is, right? But anyways, Mothman. I would consider gold better than platinum personally, but that's just me. Yeah, that's true with this Jaws thing, but Mothman, the most controversial episode. I can't hate it because it's not a bad episode. It's not a bad episode, but like it shows the creature, but like the historical angle is the most interesting part of it, right? But then they claim near the end of the episode that they've seen the creature in multiple places, like another bridge collapse in Missouri, and the Lost Tapes revelation thing was kind of interesting, but I would put it maybe around definitely low C tier episode, because the design's cool. Like, this design's cool. Like, it fits the Mothman, but it's just like it's not very good of an episode. It's very boring. You barely see the creature, and it's just like It's like Paranoia. Maybe it's like the Mothman prophecies. I haven't seen it, but it's an it's just not very good episode. But I almost forgot. One of the few things, Skinwalker. I used to see these things a couple times in my nightmares, and it was really horrifying. Like just this thing, it was really creepy. But Mothman in itself is it's very mid. Like it's actually mid average. Very mid episode. Not terrible, but it's not very good. That which can't be said for Death Crawler or Zombie. Southern Sasquatch. I would put this maybe in the definitely above. I would put this maybe around S tier, as it's one of the most graphically violent episodes, one of the most horrifying episodes. Although my only critique is, in terms of the show, I would have had a Yowie in there somewhere. I would have had Yowie. They should have had Yowie. Right, but anyways, this episode's like one of the most graphically violent episodes. I used to think only one person survived, but like, it's really creepy, really horrifying with the Southern Sasquatch. You can't, like, it's really creepy, right? Really creepy. Like it's the hunter's becoming the hunted, kind of like Predator in that sense. Not really, but like Predator. Like it's really creepy episode. Plus, this is something I noticed when the Southern Sasquatch grabs the guy from behind, he does this motion, and then it cuts, it zooms in and it zooms out really quickly to show the guy's chest been slashed open. Like that's kind of bad. Like that's like one of the few fatal flaws of the episode, which can't make it to S+ tier, but like it's a very good episode. One of the best episodes. I would say that and Dover Demon are some of the best episodes of season 2. But yeah, Oklahoma Octopus. I used to hate this episode. It's definitely gonna be placed definitely in the low A tier, not because it's a bad episode, but it's definitely a very good episode. It's a very horrifying episode. Like it's one of the few, like it's a very good water episode. Like 2 people only survive, and plus there's the tension of like not knowing what's underneath you. I think it's plasmophobia. I don't remember exactly, but like you barely see the octopus's. You just see its tentacles, and it's really scary, really creepy looking. It's a really creepy episode because like they're stranded and they could get sucked under at any moment, right? I know I supposedly quote unquote found a location was Lake Pisa, Pisa. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I'm probably gonna go there maybe one of these days. But it's a really creepy episode, really creepy. I don't really like this design for the art because it makes it look way bigger than it actually is. It makes it look like Cthulhu in this picture, but it's definitely a very good episode. Speaking of the drawing sketches, I used to not really like the Wendigo episode, the sketch, not the episode, but the sketch. I used to not really like it. Like it's grown on me, but it's just the snout I don't really like. It's very tiny, but like the mouth. But oh no, we got into the 2 worst episodes of the show. Don't even waste my time. These are E tier. Actually, no. They get their own special column. No. I have a row below. They get their own special row. I thought I wouldn't have to do this, but this is the F tier. F tier. Done. Okay. Cue the Serpent God. Enigma was a mistake. The only reason they did that was because of the zombie hype of Resident Evil. And they tried to do Weyland-Yutani for the Alien vs. Predator series, but specifically Q. This sketch is the coolest sketch. I love this sketch, this artwork. This is the coolest sketch. The coolest thing. Right? But it's not a very good episode. It starts out pretty interesting, I guess. with them like kidnapping, like with them capturing one of the cult members and trying to coerce him to work with the team, but um, it's not a very good episode. Like the animatronics like looks really crappy. It looks like something from a Disneyland ride. Like I know people like, and this is one of the problems with it. It has I mean, Native American we have Native American mythology and legend in this series, but now because of this episode, we set the standard of we can have a dragon episode, which is a horrible idea. Horrible. We should not. That should not be allowed. No exceptions. Um, like it's not a very good episode. Like I can't hate the design of Q, like in terms of the drawing. Like it's a cool drawing. It's just not very good. Plus, in the beginning, like it makes no sense for the guy would walk into a random warehouse just to get murdered by a giant snake creature. Like Megaconda gets a pass because it's actually plausible. And the anacondas actually eat people. Q the Serpent God has no excuse, and plus it introduces the idea of mythical creatures getting into the series, like unicorns, dragons, which, like, I know people might say the case, oh, but what about the poltergeist? You can introduce angels and demons. There's a difference, I guess, because people still encounter the supernatural every day, but Q is just not a good episode. Not good. It is a terrible episode. And Reptilian, I think this is even worse. Here's the thing. Yeah, you think of a corporation could have been its own thing, and yeah, I definitely do agree with your Sasquatch comment. It was the good episode. It was basically Bigfoot taken to the max. But Reptilian, here's the thing. I know I said this in the podcast, but I cannot stop repeating this. This is really important that you guys know about this. The reptilian thing is rooted in anti-Semitism. What do I mean? It's like it's the idea of, oh, we're being controlled by lizard people. Oh, they're they're controlling the government and politics. They're trying to like dominate themselves, trying to like kill off the human species. Which, if you really take a look at that conspiracy theory, it's actually rooted in a large amount of anti-Semitism. Like it's actually it's actually rooted in a lot of anti-Semitism, and I really don't appreciate it. But as an episode, it's not very good. Like the beginning, like you think it's gonna be really good of an episode because the beginning, it's just not a very good episode. They the police are so incompetent. You barely see the creature, or the alien, so to speak. Like the only reason they made this episode was because of the alien. Because reptilians are loosely tied into it. They should have just done the Hopkinsville goblins. Or just the Gray Man, like I've said multiple times on here, right? It's not a good episode. Like nobody survives. But there's just a setup with the creature just basically being looking like Chester from Linkin Park with lizard eyes. It's so goofy. And it's literally just the cover of the Lost Tapes when you look it up on Google. It's one of the few thumbnail images, but it's just not a good episode. It's horrible. Terrible. No excuses whatsoever. It should not exist. The only reason it exists is because of the alien and conspiracy theory stuff, and it's one of the worst episodes because it really ended the show on such a horrible note. And I know Smaug was working on season 4. I was part of that project, and we had cool ideas of how to end season 4, but I'm not gonna get into that because I don't think I have the right to disclose what's going on, but it's not a good episode. It is horrible. Bad. Yeah, the Flatwood Monsters too. That's it. Here's the thing. Lost Tapes, here's the big things I think they should have done. They should have done Flatwoods, Yowie, Goatman, and Bloody Mary. And Loch Ness Monster. Those are the 5 they should have done. And maybe Area 51 if they really felt being much more liberal with the spending. But those are the 5. Nessie, Bloody Mary, Loch Ness. No, sorry. Nessie, Bloody Mary, Goatman, Flatwoods, and I don't remember. But they should have just done that. They should have done Loch Ness as the last episode and maybe have it like it as a love letter to cryptozoology, right? They should have just done that, you know? It's not a good episode. It's terrible. It's rooted in actual racist conspiracy theories. And I know I said I wouldn't get political in this show, but it's really important to remember that is the actual root of the reptilian conspiracy theory. It's rooted in anti-Semitism. And if you want to know, I'm not Jewish, but like, it's not a good episode. It's horrible. Not a good episode. And then Strigoi. You know, it's decent for what it is. It's not me. I definitely would place it maybe below. I would place it in D tier. It's not a bad episode. It's just not very good. And plus, I don't remember, it was Zombie or this episode's the last episode in the Lost Tapes timeline. It's really kind of offensive that this is the last episode continuity speaking wise, but like, it's not a very good episode. I know Reptilian's like the worst offensive note, but like, plus the design, like this design right here is really goofy looking with the eyeballs, but Strigoi is not a very good episode. It's not terrible. It's like, it has an interesting premise. Them thinking it's a terrorist attack, but they had to call the Enigma Corporation. Maybe they could have gotten their own series, but I would not have done Enigma at all. But Strigoi is just not a very good episode. It's not bad. Maybe I would place it, maybe like, I would think about maybe placing in E tier, but a very high E tier. Like, it's entertaining, but it's just not very good of an episode. But like, maybe I don't know, like, I don't want to hate this episode because it does some cool stuff with like its shape shifting and some of the horror tension and stuff, but it's definitely not very good. Thunderbird. Yeah, they did waste the potential for Strigoi. They could have done that. Thunderbird. It's not. It's okay. It's like, I want to place it below. No, Swamp Monster is a very low D tier episode because it's not bad. It's just very boring. That's its biggest flaw. But like, the Thunderbird, another creature from Native American mythology, and they try to make it look like, at least in the sketch work, like Quetzalcoatlus, but then they try to make it like the eagle from New Zealand that used to pick up children. I can't remember the name. It was like the Haste Eagle, something like that. They think it's like, I don't know. Like, it's just not very good of an episode. Like, the kid actors did the best they could, but I don't want to know trivia about skateboard fatalities. Because I don't care, but like, even with the possums, like, they don't, you don't see any shots of the eagle picking up children. The reason why Strigoi is higher up than Thunderbird is because Strigoi actually has like really interesting scenes, really cool concepts and episodes. Like, maybe it's about, I don't know, like, these Bear Lake and Strigoi are basically very high. Thunderbird, I don't hate it. It's just not very great. It's not a very good episode. It's definitely one of the worst episodes of season 1. Besides Swamp Monster, because it's a very boring episode. But being boring is like the least offensive thing you can do. And then Vampire. This is an S+ tier. No questions. Some of those horrifying scenes of this show were because of this episode. This fucking episode is really scary in and itself. Like, this design, this sketch is really cool. Like, it's not like a typical vampire design. Like, it looks like, you know, for the longest time I thought werewolf and vampire were switched. Like, you know, I used to think they were switched, but it's a really creepy episode. It's really horrifying, really terrible. It's not a very good episode. Sorry. It's a very good episode. It's a great episode. It's like really scary because the kid, like, you know, like the bed scene alone is like one of the scariest scenes in the movie, or scariest scenes of the show. It is horrifying. Like the guy, like the vampire almost ripping off the kid's sheets just to suck his blood. or like the basement scene, and then the vampire goes on a rampage, like knocking things over. I remember seeing advertisements for this episode where like it was all quiet, there was no sound, you just saw the vampire knocking over stuff, and then the kid looking back, and then you hear the kid screaming. The vampire seemingly so right in front of the kid, and it said "Lost Tape." New episodes this September. And it's like really horrifying. Like if someone could find advertisements for Lost Tapes, I would really appreciate it, because that's like that's the scariest advertisement I've ever seen. But this episode's really good. It is the best is the best episode of season 2, and is the scariest, along with Wendigo in its respective season. Like Death Raptor is very good, but it doesn't have the same charm as Wendigo or Vampire, you know. And then White River Monster is a very low E tier, but it's not as bad as Quetzalcoatl or Reptilian for several reasons. It's a bad episode, but they did like it's catfish noodling. Like it's really stupid with the teeth and all that shit. It's like the design looks like Zefactinus. I don't know why they decided to do Zefactinus. Which that reminds me. So in the episode opening, and as well as parts of the episode for Monster Model Raid, they play clips from Dinosaur Planet of the Plesiosaur attacking a pod and his sister. Which I know people don't like that episode, but like I don't really like that episode, but like, you know, irrelevant point. But anyways, White River Monster is not a bad episode. It's a bad episode, but it's not as bad as F tier. Here's where like it gets, the only thing it gets points on is like the people die relatively quickly, and it's like cartoony and kind of knows it's cartoony, plus the old man's like really, really cool. The design though looks like a baby Zefactinus. It looks really horrible. It looks like a bad version of the Nile tiger fish thing that's seen in Africa. The one with the giant teeth. Like, it's just not a good episode. One of the worst episodes. I would say it's one of the worst episodes of season 2. But anyways, we have the last one. Yeti. Definitely a step up. It's definitely like it tries to be like Southern Sasquatch, but it's not. It tries to be violent. Like I remember there was like one of the sound effects when the guy's arm drops. It used to like roar, like one of the generic roaring sounds. Like one, I think the cyber demon, like some of the creatures roar out in games like Turok, or Doom. But if I were to place this, I would place it. This is a very tough one because this has one of the coolest like sketch designs in terms of the drawings. Like I know if you notice I said it a lot because like the thumbnail is very important. The creature, did you see right here? Like Strugoi's creature thumbnail is like, but the episode Yeti is a very interesting episode. That they don't set it in Nepal. They set it like on a ship. Yeah, I think that's like a really cool change of pace for it. But it's a very creepy episode. But I remember like when I was a kid, Devil Monkey and Yeti debuted at the same time. Like not at the same time, but like same time. Like I think it was like 7 or 6 o'clock at night. And then this one appeared like 30 minutes later. But like, if I had to place this on the tier list, I would definitely place it maybe... it's hard to say. I would definitely place it somewhere in S tier, but... Actually, you know, I probably would put... I don't know. Maybe around S tier, only because it's like really good, but like maybe like a lower... You know what? I'd probably put it in like an A tier. Because like, it's a really good episode, but like the ending where the guys just... They're stupidly... let themselves get killed by a Yeti. Like, it's a very interesting setting, but you know, like, it's a very good episode. They had the drama alert music, which I thought was really funny. But yeah, like, it's such an interesting concept. Yeah, that's a good point. That is a good point with the alligator snake design. I don't know why they decided not to do that, and they decided, hey, like let's make it not like that. But yeah, that's my tier list, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna download it. Alright. So that's the tier list, everyone. If you love it, hate it, somewhere in the middle. Let me know in your comments down below if you like what's your tier list, or at least your top like maybe top 8, because like, you know, where I place them isn't necessarily like reflective of my top two, of my placement of like my top 10. Like it is kind of, but like I'd be very curious to see what you guys put, at least for your top 10. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. This is my first attempt live streaming, so thank you very much for joining on, and I'll see you on the flip side. Until we meet again.